And Eric Holder appears to be determined to close the door. This process is not over yet. Mr. Durham has his preliminary investigation to conclude. He may make recommendations. He may recommend a formal criminal investigation. He may open the door and look further, but it appears quite clear at this point he's going to be struggling against the attitudes of the Justice Department at the very formal level in doing so. Now, the accountability question looms ahead, and it takes several different aspects. We have the criminal law aspect, which Emmett's discussed, and which Senator Lieberman is working hard to foreclose, as well as the civil liability aspect, and we also have the professional ethic aspect. Should lawyers who crafted these memos for a purpose, who were instrumental in the process of introducing torture, should they suffer some consequences for this at any of these different levels? That's an issue that's deserving of your attention, and I'm thankful that it has the attention of Common Cause.
Elisa Massimino. Elisa is the CEO of Human Rights First and is a national authority on human rights law and policy. Elisa joined Human Rights First in '91 after working as a litigator in private practice for Hogan and Hartson. She's an adjunct professor as well at Georgetown Law Center, where she teaches human rights advocacy to the students, and has also taught at UVA, GWU, and the law schools there. Established in '78, the Human Rights First works in the U.S. and abroad to promote respect for human rights and the rule of law. Through its law and security program, Human Rights First is one of the lead organizations to investigate and document violations.
When the history of this period is written, among the primary heroes will be so many in the uniformed military and active duty and retired who have tried to bring us to our senses and back to ourselves on these issues and remind us that not only is torture and abuse of prisoners wrong, but it's bad for our national security. I want to take just a few minutes to talk about Guantanamo itself and the current dynamic about the debate to close it down. We're witnessing an organized and sustained pushback campaign in response to efforts by the Obama administration to stop torture and close the Guantanamo prison facility. Opponents of reform are striking back, using fear to impede the president's efforts to bring national security policy back into alignment with our domestic law and international obligations. We can't allow those forces to succeed. We have to close Guantanamo down. Doing so will enhance our national security and improve our ability to work with our allies to combat terrorism around the world. The system that replaces Guantanamo must not reproduce its worst features. In particular, we can't continue to hold suspects in limbo forever. Indefinite detention without charges is not a viable plan. Our federal court system has proven its ability to successfully prosecute a wide range of terrorism cases, and our federal prisons are more than capable of incarcerating those convicted safely and securely. While the president has rightly rejected the use of torture, and the task force that he created with the executive order has concluded that the Army Field Manual should be the standard, nonetheless, Vice President Cheney and his daughter are both regenerating a campaign against that policy. The fundamental principle of counterinsurgency that we've learned and relearned in Afghanistan and Iraq is that we have to undermine the enemy's legitimacy while building up our own. These wars are not going to be won on the battlefield. They're won in the hearts and minds of the men and women on the fence, and those who who choose not to sign up as fighters against the United States. And if we torture, if we go back down that path, then it embitters and alienates the very people that we need most. I want to also underscore the capability of our federal court system to try these cases. This is an issue that's now being debated inside the Obama administration as they think about what to do with the people at Guantanamo. Over the last couple of decades, our federal courts, constituted under Article 3 of the Constitution, have proven fully capable of trying a wide range of terrorism cases without sacrificing either national security or our standards of fairness in the Constitution. These prosecutions can be handled by our traditional federal court system. They operate under statutes and procedures that provide the tools necessary to try these cases. It's interesting to me that one of the reforms of the military commission system that's being discussed now is moving the Classified Information Procedures Act into the military commissions. Well, we have courts that operate with those rules right now. What we ought to be doing is moving the cases into the system, not the system into this discredited system of military commissions, which you heard about.
Our host really is Common Cause, so I want to thank them for all their support here. Bob Edgar is president and CEO of Common Cause, a national nonpartisan, nonprofit citizens lobby working to make government at all levels more honest, open, and accountable, and to connect citizens with their democracy. Bob has served 12 years in Congress as a representative from the 7th District of Pennsylvania and was the General Secretary of the National Council of Churches of Christ in the U.S. for 7 years immediately before arriving at Common Cause. Under Bob's leadership, Common Cause has mobilized grassroots to respond to executive branch issues in the U.S. government and issues that have systematically violated, in his opinion, U.S. law involving habeas corpus, thwarting U.S. law in the treatment of detainees, and engaging in warrantless wiretaps and ignoring the rule of law, as Common Cause would suggest. The hot issues of the day, of course, are the DOJ, Department of Justice, Eric Holder's involvement, and the decision by DOJ to pursue these cases and government role, particularly executive branch role, in creating torture and abuse, violating the Geneva Conventions. Second is the issue of the Defense Authorization Bill and Joe Lieberman's action to insert a specific rule that would suggest we don't pursue, that we let it go, that we follow President Obama's original suggestion that we not pursue or file complaints or lawsuits relative to military actions in Cuba. And again, I'll stress that there's a secondary issue around contractors and who those contractors were. I happen to know they came from big corporations like General Dynamics and others that did some of the interrogation and training, so it wasn't all U.S. military. That U.S. military role was overseen, if that's the right word, by Southcom in Miami.